Some people can walk into a room and immediately sense that something is off. No one is arguing, nothing dramatic is happening. Yet their mind has already noticed the avoided glance, the forced smile, and the ordinary sentence, carrying an unusual tension. This may look like a superpower, but sharp awareness becomes a psychological trap when the brain has no off switch. They take every detail home, pull it apart, and replay it repeatedly. One brief silence can become an entire universe of questions. Hyper-awareness is the exhausting habit of noticing layers of meaning that others seem able to ignore. Today, we are decoding why overly aware minds work this way and how they can keep their depth without being consumed by it. Psychology points to two possible origins. For some, sensitivity is inborn. Researchers describe this as sensory processing sensitivity, associated with highly sensitive persons. Their nervous system processes sights, sounds, emotions, and social cues more deeply. The world reaches them in unusually high resolution. For others, awareness develops as hypervigilance, a survival response that can begin in an emotionally unpredictable childhood. Imagine a child growing up where an adult's mood changes without warning. They learn to study footsteps, expressions, closing doors, and changes in tone. They figure out when it is safe to speak and when to disappear quietly. Their amygdala, the brain's alarm system, repeatedly receives the same message. This environment may not be safe, so keep scanning. No one has to teach them. Their nervous system learns to predict emotional danger before it arrives. Over time, vigilance becomes part of their identity. As adults, they may ask, "Why do I overthink everything?" But they are not broken. Their awareness is intelligence shaped by survival. The shield that protected them never learned when to come down. The first sign is constant analysis. For most people, a conversation is just a conversation. For an overly aware person, it is an equation running beneath the surface. Their boss sends a short message, "Come see me later." Other people see a meeting. They sense coldness in the wording and immediately search for a mistake. Did I do something wrong? Is my boss disappointed? What am I missing? They notice the pause before a compliment or a smile that disappears too quickly. This may involve the default mode network, a brain system connected to reflection and self-referential thought. Interpretation continues even when nothing needs to be solved. Half of them is participating in life. The other half is taking invisible notes. That is why an ordinary day can leave them exhausted. Their body was still, but their mind ran a marathon. The second sign is hyper-self-awareness. Psychology calls the ability to examine your own thinking metacognition. It is useful, but in an overly aware mind, it can become relentless. They do not merely feel an emotion. They monitor it, analyze it, and then judge it. Sadness appears, and instead of allowing it to exist, they ask, "Why am I sad? Does this make sense? Shouldn't I be grateful?" Soon, they feel guilty for having the emotion at all. Even happiness gets inspected. They laugh, then wonder whether they sounded fake. It is like dancing while constantly checking your reflection. You may correct every movement, but lose the flow. The third sign is losing innocence in relationships. Awareness helps them infer what others may be thinking, an ability related to theory of mind. But simple interactions become complicated. A coworker brings them coffee and praises their work. Instead of receiving the kindness, their brain scans for a hidden motive. What do they want from me? Is this compliment genuine, or is it an investment? They understand that kindness can carry conditions, confidence can hide insecurity, and apologies can be offered merely to end conflict. This creates a quiet loss, the ability to trust the surface of words. They do not necessarily become bitter, they become cautious. Compliments feel layered, promises feel fragile, and closeness requires evaluation. This is why they may feel lonely, even in a crowded room. They notice a layer no one else mentions. The fourth sign is empathy that never switches off. They enter a meeting and immediately feel the tension between two coworkers. No one says anything, but the atmosphere reaches them anyway. Cognitive empathy helps us understand feelings. Emotional empathy makes us feel them. In overly aware people, the line between understanding and absorbing becomes thin. A nervous person taps their foot, and their body becomes tense. A friend shares a painful experience, and the weight remains after the conversation. They become skilled at choosing careful words and regulating the atmosphere. People feel understood around them, but that gift has a cost. They carry emotions that were never theirs, and the person who understands everyone is rarely asked whether they need understanding too. The fifth sign is heightened bodily awareness. Interoception lets the brain sense breathing, heartbeat, and tension. When overly sensitive, ordinary sensations can feel like warnings. A faster heartbeat may be interpreted as danger. Anxiety strengthens the sensation, which then appears to confirm the fear. The body becomes a stream of emergency information, even when the present is safe. Eventually, awareness turns into a strategy for control. The hidden belief is simple. If I can predict every possibility, pain will never surprise me. Their mind runs endless simulations. What if this person pulls away? What if everything changes tomorrow? This can lead to analysis paralysis, where they live inside 10 imagined futures while the present has barely begun. The cruel trade-off is that protection replaces presence. They manage life like a high-risk project, guarding themselves against futures that may never happen. So, what can they do? The answer is not to become less aware. It is to stop carrying everything they notice. 3 principles can help. First, not every silence is a message. A slow reply may mean someone is tired. A coworker who does not smile may simply have a headache. Not every change in energy is about you. Second, not every emotion requires an explanation or a solution. Sometimes a racing heart is only a physical sensation. Sometimes sadness is simply present. Notice it without building a courtroom around it, and give it time to pass. Third, not every insight needs action. You may recognize someone's insecurity, but you do not have to become their therapist. You do not have to investigate every signal. Sometimes the healthiest response is to observe, set a boundary, and step back. Clarity becomes a gift only when it comes with boundaries, knowing what belongs to you and what belongs to the world. With practice, awareness does not disappear. It softens and matures. You can still understand people deeply without holding on to every flaw. You can feel the atmosphere of a room without being pulled into its current. The real shift is moving from prediction to presence, and from fear to curiosity. Instead of questioning every smile, you allow yourself to enjoy the conversation or a quiet cup of coffee. Life becomes lighter, not because people become simple, but because you stop carrying every contradiction at once. The light in your mind does not have to remain a laser exposing every imperfection. It can become a candle, bright enough to understand human fragility, yet gentle enough to warm you too. If this feels familiar, comment which sign describes you most. Your depth is not a flaw. It becomes a gift when guided by boundaries and self-compassion. If this video gave you a clearer way to understand yourself, press like and share it with someone whose mind rarely rests. And subscribe to Mind Decoded for more videos exploring the hidden patterns behind human behavior. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.